Bobby Warner, now's the time. Call 345-6789.
Let's go, Mountaineers! Let's go, Mountaineers! Let's go, Mountaineers! Let's go, Mountaineers!
Welcome into the Press Virginia podcast with Coach Billy Hahn. The show is presented by our friends at the Warner Law Offices. Give them a call today at 304-345-6789. Again, 345-6789. The show is also sponsored by United Bank, West Virginia's bank, Alfred Home Solutions, and is produced in partnership with the Charleston Gazette-Mail. And joining me on the phone from Morgantown, West Virginia, the University City, Coach Billy Hahn. How you doing, Coach?
Anthony, I couldn't be doing better. Everything's great. Like I always say, it's a great day to be alive. Count your blessings.
Amen to that. Amen to that.
Yep.
We're down here in the southern half of the state, and you would think that we were in Antarctica. It's cold.
I've been following all the news and everything all day long. The southern part of the state's been hit pretty hard compared to up here in Morgantown.
Yeah, so, I'm lucky, counting my blessings. I have power, and
Yep.
prayers to the people that are dealing with no power in this cold, cold weather. But
Absolutely.
We're coming off of – but before we talk basketball, I want to ask you. So Saturday, I go down the street, always my usual spot, go down to my neighbor's. We'd sit down and watch the game, and a guy from work brought me some moonshine.
Wow.
Do you drink moonshine?
I'm going to be honest with you. I've never had one sip of moonshine.
Well, Sunday morning, Anthony's telling you don't.
Absolutely.
I'm
You know
saying
what?
it's not.
I've had everybody try to give me the new moonshine. I honestly have not tasted. They go, "Oh, you'll like this. Tastes just like apple pie."
Yeah.
I have not tried it. I've never have. I said I'm staying away from it. I've heard too many horror stories about moonshine.
Yeah, so, I took it because there were a few people there. We were, he's got a big, big room. I mean, like 24 seats. And there's a handful of people there. We're spread out. And I'm like, well, I can pour this in cups and get rid of this stuff because I don't want this stuff in my refrigerator or my freezer for too long because I don't want to be tempted to drink it. Well, the game got tight. And I start pouring just a little bit in my cup, Next thing you know, second overtime, I looked at my buddy. I was like, damn, I'm drunk, man. I am drunk.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I want to tell you something now. You talk about a great college basketball game, and I know everybody's upset or a little disappointed we lost, which I am. But I tell you what, you talk about a college basketball game to watch. That was a great, great college basketball game. Might be one of the best college basketball games I watched all year. I watched all kinds of TV.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you call two teams battling. Like two equal teams battling. They knew what was at stake, and they were letting it all hang out on the court.
Yeah, two teams battling, and the great thing about it was you had two coaches battling like crazy with each other. Lonnie Kruger coached his butt off. Bob Huggins coached his butt off. And what's crazy is we had so many chances to win that game. I would have put money that when Deuce McBride had the follow-up shot, I thought that was going to be the game winner when he had the follow-up shot. And I couldn't believe he missed it. I just couldn't believe it.
Yeah, that was tough. So West Virginia falls in double overtime to Oklahoma, 91-90, in a classic. It would have been, had West Virginia pulled it off, it would have been one of the all-time classics. But a great people that were watching around the country were just general fans were loving it.
Well, it was good. It was good enough that we went up one in the rankings this week. we lose and we go up a notch in the rankings.
Yeah, and
That's how good it was.
you know, it was tough though. West Virginia falls to 14-6 overall, 7-4 in the conference. And we talked about the importance of it going into it. If you win, you're sitting in second place alone. Now, where you haven't been able to fulfill all your games, you've fallen to fifth in the conference, and it's going to balance back out, you know, over the next few weeks. But it was just important. It would have been so nice to get that win and be sitting in second place.
Well, we're going to find out. 3 games in Saturday game, Tuesday game, Thursday game, Saturday game. Think about that. 4 games. Saturday game, Tuesday game, Thursday game, Saturday game. Got 4 games.
3 of them road games.
Yeah, 3 of them road games. We're in Texas starting. We fly to Texas on Friday and don't come back until after the game on Thursday night.
Yeah, that's a long road trip. So I want to talk about Derek Culver, Mr. Redemption, because we sat here a few weeks ago after we lost to the Oklahoma and talked about how they basically bullied him and knocked him out of his game, and he came out early and they tried it, and he was unfazed. And I think even one of the announcers said they better take him out because they can't guard him tonight.
Yeah, my man, what is his name? Manic.
Yeah, he couldn't guard him.
He could not guard him. He could not guard him. It was like a big boy on the block beating up the little guy.
Derek Culver finished the night with 29 points. One of the comebacks, because I think maybe 6 games ago against Oklahoma 2 years ago, he scored 12, but last year he didn't play well against them, and then early the game at Oklahoma didn't play well against him. I think only finished with 2 points and was frustrated, but my man, pure redemption. I got to tip my hat.
Sure was. He was wanting to prove to Oklahoma that you guys cheap shot at me the last game and held me down to nothing, got my head. He says, I want to show you guys that I've overcome that and going to make you pay for it this week, which he did.
Great ball game by him. How about McNeil? Was he on fire last week or what?
Unbelievable. That damn guy. It was good enough that he made Conference Player of the Week. I mean, here's what's great about our game against Oklahoma. They come up with the Conference Player of the Week. It was a co-conference Player of the Week. The kid from Oklahoma, Reeves, and Sean McNeil. I mean, we're co-players of the week because that game was such a classic. We could not guard Reeves. As much as they couldn't guard Culver, we couldn't guard Reeves. We could not guard Reeves.
Yeah, McNeil last week. We had no answer for Reeves, that's for sure.
None.
McNeil went for 26 against Texas Tech and then turned around and went for 21 against Oklahoma. Had a hell of a week shooting the ball. The kid was feeling it. You know, he got the starting nod on Saturday and lived up to it. You know, good for him. And then of course Deuce McBride doing what he does. I believe he finished with 21, maybe 19 against Oklahoma. Great ball game by him, but you know, it was the ending of that ball game. I'm sure everyone around the country was just screaming at the screen. It was a game. It was almost like football. It was the game of inches. You know, if Gabe doesn't step out of bounds on that rebound and Oklahoma gets the ball, that pretty much ends it. There were so many opportunities for West Virginia, and it just slipped through their hands. And I hate more than anyone, except for probably the coaching staff and the players, to lose home games. It's not good.
Yeah, it's tough to lose. Yep.
So, but West Virginia's got their work cut out for them this week. Like you said, they play 4 games this week at Texas, and then they got to go to TCU, and then they got to try to bang with Baylor. Which I hate that game. Because I know they're going to come back. They're going to be wore out for a home game with K-State.
I'm interested. I've watched all these teams, Anthony, this year across the country that have been shut down, and watched the teams coming out of their shutdown. I'll be very anxious to see how Baylor comes out of their shutdown.
Yeah, that's something. Do they play before us?
See, I don't think they do.
Let me. I'll try to look this up real
Look
quick.
up it real quick. I don't have it in front of me right now, but I don't think they play until they play us. I might be wrong,
Well, we
but I don't think
saw.
they do.
No, they don't play. No,
That's why I can't wait. That's why I think it's our advantage going into that game. I know we gonna probably be a little fatigued playing Saturday and Tuesday. Have to play them on Thursday, but I watch teams that haven't played. For example, Villanova got smoked by St. John's when Villanova came out of it. Michigan State has not recovered yet. They came out of it. Trying to think who else.
Well, I think I lied to you here. I'm looking here.
Huh?
They play Iowa State on the 23rd at 8:00. So on Tuesday night they'll play Iowa State, a 2-15 Iowa State. So they may as well not even be playing.
So they play Tuesday before we play them on Thursday.
Yes.
Okay, well that's their advantage. That cancels out what I was thinking then.
Yeah, I would have liked to, well, and that's still I think they're going to still feel a little fatigue. It takes a few games to get your road chops back or your game chops back, sitting around for 2 weeks.
Is that game at Iowa State or is it at home?
They're at home. They're at home.
So they got back-to-back home games.
Yeah, then they got to turn around and play us on Thursday, and then 2 days later have to go to Kansas. So the Big 12 didn't do them any favors either.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's tough. The schedule is brutal. I mean, it's just been really bad. I was a little disappointed this week that we had a full week off. I thought they could have snuck it. The Big 12 doesn't do us any favors. All right, stick a team that we haven't played. Bring them to Morgantown on Wednesday, or like tonight would be a great night to play. But no, they wouldn't do that.
Yeah. Let me ask you something about Deuce McBride. There's a lot of the postseason conversations already starting. The awards. Where do you think he'll fall in the Big 12 awards? And do you think Deuce is an All-American?
I think he will be first team All Big 12. I think that will happen for sure. All-American. I do not think he will be first team All-American. I think, however they choose, I think he would be on the All-American team, but I don't think he'll be first team All-American. No,
he's close. I definitely agree with you though. I think he's going to be a first team All Big 12 selection.
Yep.
And probably a second or maybe a third team All-American pick. But the young man,
depending, you know what, Anthony, depending how he finishes, if he finishes up the next 2 weeks, like plays balls out, I mean, he could definitely be first team All-American. And everybody votes on that stuff by who's hot and what they've seen in the latest.
Right.
So if he plays crazy the next 2 weeks, he has a chance to be first team All-American. If you voted right now, he would be first team All Big 12, and he would be second or third team All-American.
I agree.
Yep.
I agree. What do you think of the fact that they're going to try to play the conference tournament? Do you think that's a smart move with this COVID?
To be honest with you, for Baylor and for West Virginia and for Texas and for the top teams in the league, it's not good for us. But the teams that don't have any chance to get to the tournament, like Kansas State or Iowa State, they want to play because the only way they can get a bid to the NCAA tournament is if they either win the conference tournament or get to like the championship game of the conference tournament. They might get a bid then, but I don't think it's good for the teams that are at the top of the league.
I've seen some conversation about some teams opting out. I don't think the conferences are going to allow that,
Right.
without punishment, of course.
Too much money, Anthony. Too much money, man. That TV money, Big 12 TV money, conference tournament. That's big bucks for the schools.
Yeah, well, the Wu-Tang Clan says cash rules everything around me. And,
I tell you what, man. Money's powerful.
yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how they handle it. Obviously, I believe there's a week in between, so they've allowed some time for the teams to, if something happens late, to get themselves right, to show up to Kansas City. I just hope the players and the staff, because the coaches aren't going anywhere. They're not going out on the town. They're not doing much. They're hanging. But what you have to be concerned about is you've got GAs and you've got some young staffers that tend to wander into other places, and maybe hopefully everyone's doing the right thing.
Well, I know Coach Huggins will have his group of people that travel with the team, GAs, managers, etc. Coach Huggins will have a tight ship on them, and they're not gonna be going out. I know that ain't gonna happen.
I get it. I've traveled, and you're sitting in some hotel, and it sounds exciting from the outside, but it's not exciting sometimes when you're just sitting in a hotel room for days at a time, and you're just waiting to play or practice.
And you know what, Anthony? It's so different this year than it has been. We're in uncharted waters with this COVID, man. This is all new to everybody. Coaches, players, managers, travel party. This is completely different. I mean, the hotel situation, everything's different this year. It's different.
Yeah, you heard what we heard what Jenna Huggins said.
Yep.
A lot of times in certain states they can't even all eat together because of this thing. So it didn't like the old days where you guys break out of a film session and the guys go to each other's rooms and hang out.
Yep.
They're probably just confined to their room with their roommate. And
that's exactly. Yep.
So I don't know. It's going to be crazy over the next few weeks, but I will have to commend, the staff and all across the Big 12. I mean, there haven't been, there's been basketball teams that have shut it down. I know Duke's women's team shut it down. There's been teams, so they've been able to get to this point. It's February the 17th, and we're a few weeks away from Big 12 tournament and NCAA play. So hopefully everyone can keep it together and we can get into this tournament.
It won't be long. We'll be watching on Sunday night the pairings for the NCAA tournament, not the Big 12 tournament, the NCAA tournament with Jim Nance and CBS TV. We'll be checking that out. And right now they got us Joe Lunardi's got us a 3 seed right now. CBS TV, they got us a 4 seed. So they got us a 3 or 4 right now. And I think if we continue to play some good games, we got a chance to move to a 2 seed if we get hot and get on a roll.
You don't want to slip to that 5.
No, you don't. That is true. You don't want to slip to the 5. You're exactly right. Yep.
So this week is very important.
Yep.
And then, of course, the tournament. When I look at the Big 12 tournament and the way this team is playing, I really like West Virginia's chances. I don't want to play Texas Tech again. I know that's for sure. And
I don't want to play Texas Tech again, but I do want to play Oklahoma again.
Yeah, absolutely. I
want to stay away. I want to stay away from Texas Tech. I want Texas Tech to be in the opposite bracket of us, and I want to play Oklahoma in our bracket because that would give us. It's hard to beat a team 3 times. That's why we want to stay away from Texas Tech.
Let's flash back a second because we were talking about this Saturday. What do you remember about the Big 12 tournament against Oklahoma when Buddy Hield hit the 3 at the buzzer What do you remember from that moment?
I remember going bonkers knowing that he did not get the shot off on time. But Buddy thinking he did. He went over and jumped on the table there by where the announcers were. And I remember Fran Fraschilla going crazy thinking that the shot was good. They reviewed it, and it wasn't off in time. I remember that. I remember vividly running off the bench back to where our locker room was. I just started running because I knew we won. I was going crazy.
So you saw it from his hand. You thought when it left his hand,
Absolutely.
It was late.
I said, we're done. We just won. I ran out towards the locker room. I remember going through the tunnel.
Well, you were in better spirits than me because I think I dropped a few F-bombs.
Well, you probably had some of that moonshine going.
Yeah, we were. It took a while for me to believe. I just couldn't believe it. I mean, hell of a shot. Probably a tenth of a second too late.
Yep.
But what a crazy moment from Big 12 from the Big 12 tournament.
Yeah, that was good. Yep.
Hey, let's take a break. You've got a great guest lined up tonight.
Tonight's guest is a great guest tonight. All of our listeners are going to love the old guy that played for the Mountaineers and now is a legendary guy in the NBA now, Jonnie West. Jerry West's son, Jonnie West, who's married Michelle Wie, the professional golfer. We're going to have some great, great conversation with Jonnie West coming up.
All right. And before we do that, let's move the trivia question around tonight. Let's do it before the break. So tonight's Dell Sparks Collection Text to Win trivia question. The phone number 681-231-2632. Again, the number 681-231-2632. In 1959, Jonnie West's father, Jerry West, led the Mountaineers to the NCAA Finals. West Virginia lost the game. Who did they lose to, and what was the final score? Again, the phone number, 681-231-2632. Jerry West led the Mountaineers to the NCAA Finals. West Virginia lost the game. Who did they lose to, and what was the final score? Text that answer to that phone number. The first person to do it wins an 8x10 from the Dell Sparks Collection. All right, when we come back, the Director of Basketball Operations for the Golden State Warriors, Jonnie West, will join us.
Do you have cracked or sinking concrete? Don't spend a fortune replacing it. Concrete problems don't get better with time, but they do get better with Alford Home Solutions. Visit alfordhomesolutions.com and schedule a free estimate today.
When you're injured on the job, the truth is the odds are stacked against you. After all, you're taking on the giant insurance companies that insure construction companies, coal companies, and oil and gas companies. I'm Bobby Warner. Let me put my years of experience to work for you. Warner Law Offices, when you need justice.
Bobby Warner, now's the time. Call 345-6789.
A new day begins, and what happens today must be covered, reported, and passed on to everyone in the region we serve. We bring the world in our region to your computers, your phones, your business, and your home. We cover news of the day and life as it exists in your world. Who are we? We are HD Media, trustworthy and always here for the times we live in.
A wet, damp basement can be a real problem that can worsen asthma and allergies. Alford Home Solutions will transform your basement into a dry, usable space and improve the air quality in your entire home. Visit alfordhomesolutions.com for a free estimate.
Hey, WVU fans, this is Darius Nichols. You're listening to the Press Virginia podcast with Billy
Welcome back
Hahn.
to the Press Virginia podcast with Coach Billy Hahn. And don't forget, our friends at Alford Home Solutions can fix your cold floors during the wintertime. It may be time to insulate your crawl space because the cold air is rising into the rest of your home. Alford Home Solutions can fix this problem. Go to offeredhomesolutions.com for a free estimate. Winter is here. Don't wait. Insulate. And joining us on the phone is the director of basketball operations, Mr. Jonnie West. How have you been, Jonnie?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
We're great.
Hey Johnny, this is what we usually do. You'll like this, Johnny. We've had Darius Nichols on this show. We've had Deshaun Butler on this show, and you're following the footsteps of the players of West Virginia. And basically, what I've done is we start this out. I don't ask a whole lot of questions. I basically let our listeners have you tell our listeners what you've done since you graduated from WVU, what you're doing, sort of the journey that you've taken to where you are right now. And I'll just let you run with that, and I'll just listen to you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, God, it feels like forever ago now. But I think it's coming up on 10 years. But
Unbelievable.
When I was done at WVU, moved back to Los Angeles, worked at a sports agency for a little bit, Wasserman Media Group, for about a year, close to that, and then got an opportunity to join the Warriors. They had just purchased at the time a D League team, now known as the G League, and they had their first year with the team was in Bismarck, North Dakota, and then they had moved the team down to Santa Cruz, California, which is about a hour 15 from, at the time, Oakland, and now we're in San Francisco, and had an opportunity to work there, and also scout for Golden State. So my first year was a lot of in the G League, staffs are so small that you really take on a lot of different responsibilities. And the first year did a little bit of everything down there. Even helped set up. We built a temporary structure that is it's become our arena down in Santa Cruz. And we started our first part of the year in our first year in Santa Cruz on the road because our arena was still being built. It took I think just over 70 days. It kind of looks like what you can imagine a football practice facility. Kind of looks like that type of structure.
Right.
So it started. We were setting up the arena for our first game the night before, just putting out all the chairs, everything like that. But that first year, did a bit of coaching and player development, and then also did some front office work, and was able to kind of choose the path that I wanted to go. And naturally, having grown up around it, the front office was more appealing to me. So spent my first 2 years there, just kind of learning as much as I could as far as how things go in a front office. And then the next 2 years, was fortunate enough to be the GM for the Santa Cruz Warriors. Our first year, we had a really good team, veteran team, and we're lucky enough to win the D League championship at the time. And that was also the same year that Golden State won our first championship on that run. Just a great time and really probably the best learning experience of my life, just because you get to do so much in the G League. And like I said, staffs are really small, so everything is super hands-on. And it's a great learning experience as you move forward in your career. And after that, I'm going into this is my 9th year with the Warriors now.
Wow.
So for the past 5 years have been with Golden State. My role has changed a little bit over the years, but now, a lot of what I do is travel with the team. So front office representative with the team. Do everything from college scouting to pro personnel, G League scouting, draft prep, free agency. So get to do a whole lot of things and work with just a really special group of people. And even over these last few years, just the people that I've been able to work with, the players that we've had with our team, and some that have now moved to other organizations, but have just been really blessed in what I've seen so far in my career. I've only missed the playoffs 1 year so far. Have been in 5 NBA finals, 3 G League finals.
Wow.
Have really seen a lot of high level basketball.
You know what, Johnny? You said a key word, and Coach Hahn used to tell you this all the time. You used the word "you're blessed." I always told everybody, and I told you guys, the basketball gods. There's such thing as the basketball gods, and the basketball gods take care of people that don't cheat the game, take care of people that do things the right way. The basketball gods reward those type of people. Mm-hmm. I've said that in all of my 40 years of coaching, that just remember the basketball gods are always watching you.
100%. And with that too, just think about what, you've obviously experienced a wealth of basketball over your career, but just what we've been able to do for a living. Like, we get to watch and coach basketball for a living. It's crazy to think about it in that sense. But one of the things that I've always, everybody talks about this, but try and find something that you love doing for work, and it doesn't become work. But
no, it doesn't become work.
Just, like, look at the things that you've seen over your career. Like, in my short time being in the NBA, the things that I've seen, and you sometimes take it for granted.
Yeah.
And it's, we get, like I said, we get to watch basketball, coach basketball, talk about basketball for a living.
You'll love this one, Johnny. So since I retired, I go across the country, and I've been motivational speaking to different teams across the country, whatever. Chris Beard from Texas Tech, you'll love this. Mm-hmm. Chris Beard brings me in to Texas Tech. I go to Lubbock, Texas, and I'm there for 2 full days with his team and his staff, talking to them and sort of do my little gig that I do. And Chris Beard was here 2 weeks ago when they came to Morgantown to play the Mountaineers this year. Mm-hmm. He texts me, he says, "Coach Hahn, I want you to come to our shoot-around, and I want to talk to you." So I go over there, and we're sitting next to each other. And he says, "Billy," he says, "I never forget you talking about the basketball gods." He goes, "The basketball gods have really taken care of me." I said, "What are you talking about?" He says, "Billy, I was a high school coach. And then I was an assistant junior college coach. Then I was a junior college coach. Then I got a D1 grad assistant job. Then I got an assistant job." He says, "Billy, I am getting paid over $3 million a year." He said, he just started laughing. He goes, "Do you believe that I'm sitting here with my journey? I'm getting paid $3 million a year. They're paying me, Billy." Mm-hmm. He said, "This is stupid." He says, "And I'm doing what I love to do. Right. I don't want to do anything else."
Right.
He's so right.
And a lot of people, it's not even about the money.
Yeah.
Like Klay Thompson is obviously the last couple of years he's been going through a lot of injuries and major injuries, and it just hearing him say things like, "I would give every single dollar back to be able to play basketball right now." And these guys today in the league, they're making hundreds of millions of dollars.
It's crazy, isn't it?
There's still guys, and there's a lot of guys like this that would give everything up just to be able to play basketball.
Let me ask this, Johnny. Who is your boss? Who's your boss of Golden State?
Bob Myers. And I've known
Tell me
Bob
about Bob Myers.
Bob is a unbelievable person.
Yep.
An absolute family man. Family comes first, and that's been one thing that I've really learned from him is the importance of not losing sight of, at the end of the day, this is work, but family always comes first.
Right.
And he's in growing up and being around my dad, and you obviously know my dad, and
right.
Just very, I don't want to say opposite to make it sound like my dad doesn't care about his family, but very opposite in their approaches. And for me to learn from my dad, and then to also learn from Bob has just been seeing both sides of the spectrum, and really helping form who I want to be going forward.
Well, I have nothing but applause for you that you could learn and you could take from both of those people. That's like Billy Hahn. I worked for two Hall of Fame coaches, Gary Williams at the University of Maryland and Bob Huggins at West Virginia. Mm-hmm. So I could learn from both those guys. The 12 years I was with Gary Williams and the 10 years I was with Bob Huggins, two guys that approach things completely different, two guys that are still wanted to win like crazy and were so competitive and had practices every day that were off the chart practices, both of them with that, but so different in their philosophy. Like Gary Williams didn't have a great relationship with his former players. Bob Huggins' relationship with his former players is off the charts. Mm-hmm. It's like nothing I've ever seen before that guy.
Yep.
So like you take that in, and it just makes you a better person all around.
100%. And I mean, to even think about something that you always used to say and kind of putting it into context of that. I mean, one of my favorite lines from you is always, you either get better, you get worse. There's no,
there's no never stay the same.
And if you don't learn from your experiences, whether they're great experiences or poor experiences,
right?
If you don't learn from those, and a lot of times you're going to learn more from the poor experiences than you are the greater experiences. But if you don't learn from those, then you're doing yourself a disservice.
So I think our listeners would like to continue to ask you this. Mm. So being a family guy that you are, take me with your family, wife, kids, whatever you got going on here.
Yeah. So my wife and I, we got married in August of 2 years ago now.
2 years ago in August, okay.
And then this past June, just had our first child. Had a daughter, so she's about to turn 8 months old.
Oh my! Isn't that the greatest?
It's unbelievable. And for me, like the timing of everything has been amazing. And obviously, COVID has been a very negative thing,
right.
But the positive having a child during that time is like I've been able to see every step of the way. I've only missed being around her 5 days now. And tomorrow I'm leaving on another road trip where I'll miss 5 or 6 days, but I've seen every single step of the way with her so far. And just obviously, like I said, the timing of it was great from that standpoint.
Johnny, you can't put a price on that. It's stupid what you're seeing with your 8-month-old child right now.
100%.
The steps that she's given you and every day it gets different. It's like you're going to be gone for 5 days, and in 5 days you'll come back, and she'll be different in 5 days.
100%. I mean, I used to I used to never understand when parents would say, the daily changes that you see.
Oh,
I mean, to me, there's changes where she goes to a nap and she wakes up and I see it change. Like it's not even daily; it's hourly changes. It's just it's such an amazing thing to watch.
And what a precious age she is right now. 8 months.
Oh yeah.
They're so innocent right now, and I've got a 4-year-old granddaughter and a 2-year-old granddaughter from my daughter who lives in Fort Lauderdale, and I'm able to FaceTime them every day. That 4-year-old girl and that 2-year-old girl, I mean, you talk about unbelievable, just crazy. Every day they change.
She's right. She's like right in the stage where we FaceTime with my parents and Michelle's parents almost every day. And she's in that stage where she's starting to realize who's on the other side of the phone. And it's so much fun just watching. And she's made a total wimp out of my dad. So she's had a big change.
Yeah, I love it. Now I got to ask you this question. I'm going to let you go here in a minute because I know you're busy. But who wins the golf match between you and your wife? Don't lie to me.
We have. I won't lie. And she obviously she's an amazing golfer. Has competed at the highest level, is one of the highest level. But we actually have some really good matches. I've beaten her. I've beaten her before.
I knew that.
She probably doesn't. She doesn't like to admit it, but it has happened.
I love it.
I think the best thing about it is obviously we view golf from two very different standpoints. But we're able to have that be a part of our relationship as well.
Right.
And, we can go and mess around and have fun on the course, but also compete. So it's fun. It's a nice part of our relationship.
That's gotta be so, Johnny. I think that's gotta be so cool, man. I mean, I couldn't even imagine.
I mean, it wasn't great, when she was 5-6 months pregnant and kicking my ass. It wasn't great.
I love it.
But it's no, like I said, it's a lot of fun, and
now,
for her, she continues to try and come back. Like I think it's it's obviously not the competition that she's going to face, but just some sort of competition. I think has always been.
Is she still playing, Johnny? Is she still involved?
Yeah, so she's the LPGA's maternity policy is unbelievable.
Right.
So she pretty much has, from this point on, has 2 years to where her status freezes, and then she can decide to come back when she wants in that 2-year time frame. So she's working her way back right now. Hopefully going to try and play some this year and just kind of test and see where she's at. And then she has a free year this year to kind of play, and her status doesn't get affected. So she's going to hopefully play this year and grinding as we speak. So
being the professional golfer that she is, how much time does she need to spend on a daily basis? Is she still able to do that with the 8-month-old daughter?
She's been, and I'm not just saying this because she's my wife, but what she's been able to do while being a mother is, and even while she was pregnant, she's fought some pretty bad injuries over her career, and has played hurt a lot. And I think this time of really stepping away from golf in a certain way, obviously, golf is still a major part of her life, but not having to really focus on having to get back out there while being hurt. I think it's allowed her to heal and also mentally heal. Like she was in a pretty tough space because of injuries, and it plays a big effect on things. Like, I think, and I know this is becoming like a much bigger topic, and not to say that she was dealing with anything from a mental health standpoint, but just in general, athletes, you know, the toll that playing a professional sport takes on athletes mentally is something that I think is forgotten a lot.
Yep.
And not just professional athletes, but, you know, college athletes, high school athletes. It starts it starts at a young age, and you know, at that age, you probably don't realize what it is.
And you know what? And the other thing I've learned over the years, Johnny, is watching people that I've coached, whatever. Well, if you have a player or that's reached the elite level, that adds even more pressure, because the expectations of everybody in the world, like when she tees it up, she was automatically expected to win every damn tournament.
Yeah.
Well, that ain't going to happen.
And especially how her career started, and how at a young, I mean, she was, I think, 12, 13 years old in the,
I couldn't even imagine,
in the final group of the women's U.S. Open.
I couldn't even imagine.
And, you know, playing against the men, playing on the PGA Tour, and, you know, almost making cuts. Like, she was thrown into such a spotlight at an age where you don't even know what that is.
That's just mind-boggling. Yep.
For her to just the person that she is, and how none of that has affected her, because that sort of stuff affects a lot of people. And
good for her.
You know, just her to remain the person that she is.
Let me ask you this, Johnny, like, out of my curiosity.
Yep.
Going through everything, did she have like a mental or a mental coach, or a coach?
Not that I know of. I think her golf instructor sort of served as that role. We've actually never talked about if she's ever used like a sports psych. I do think at some point she's worked with a sports psychologist, and I think golf is such a golf. Everything comes down to you. There's nobody else to blame. It's almost one of, you know, as a sport, it's almost one of the best learning lessons sports that there are, because the mental toughness,
crazy,
and people just, you know, look at it like, oh, you're just hitting a little white ball. Like, the mental toughness you have to be an elite golfer is on such in you know, basketball, baseball, football, it's different. You know, it's different types of where you have to be mentally. But golf, like I said, it comes down to you. There's nobody else to blame but yourself.
What's your last question? I'll let you go. Promise you.
Yep.
If you had a dream, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, what's Johnny West going to do? What's he want to be?
I've always wanted to be, you know, a GM or president of an NBA team. I think 5-10 years, if I'm looking at a dream scenario, I'm hopefully the GM of a team that's competing at the highest level. And, you know, just continuing to have a healthy, happy family.
Good for you, Johnny. Good for you.
That would be the dream for me.
Johnny, you're on the right journey. It's going to happen. There's no doubt in my mind. I've seen everything. I see how you do things. And Anthony, I'm going to let Johnny go. But, Johnny, I can tell you this. Deshaun Butler, Darius Nichols, all my guests. Anthony, if this isn't the most valuable player guest I've ever had on my podcast, I don't know who it is.
Well, obviously, I've been interested because I have not said a word the whole time. I just sat back and listened.
Can't thank you enough.
Great stuff.
I appreciate it. Coach, wish you the best, Anthony. Nice to meet you.
You too.
Thanks.
Best of luck with everything, guys.
Hey, Gabe, good luck to you, and thanks a million, buddy.
Thanks, Coach.
See you later. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Johnny West, he's out there in San Francisco doing big things with Golden State Warriors. They've had a lot of success, and to be a part of that, it's got to feel good for him to, come from from college to, like you said, he was just getting his shot and doing his thing with at the time the G or the D League, and now he's director of operations for one of the top organizations, and and I'm glad. I'm happy for him just for the fact that he's been able to kind of blaze his own path. It would be tough to be the son of Jerry West and come to West Virginia and the expectations, and now you're in the NBA doing things in the office. But he's blazing his own path, so people should. I think the people of West Virginia are probably the Mountaineer fans are very proud of him, and I'm sure you're proud of him as well.
What I like about it, Anthony, is it's not like, oh, Johnny West got him this job. No, Johnny West got himself this job, got in this position where he is because Johnny West did it. Jerry West did not give Johnny West this job. Johnny worked for this job. That's what makes me so happy for Johnny. And what was great, Anthony, when I hung up with him and said goodbye to him on this call, my hair on my arms was standing straight up. I mean, when the hair rises on your arms, I felt so good about Johnny West. And I could talk to that guy for hours. Think of all the questions we could be talking about with that guy.
Yeah, actually, I had a list I've read a few articles and read up, but I found myself just sitting back and listening. Because
nothing better than that. Yep.
Yeah, it was. It's great to hear him having so much success at that level. And especially when you watch a young man, it's hard to believe that he's like 32 years old now.
Yeah, how about that?
That'll make you feel old. Like he was just in Morgantown.
Just like Morgantown, like seems like it was yesterday.
Yeah, great stuff.
Yep.
Great stuff.
Yep.
Well, West Virginia. We talked about it in the first segment, has a tough road at Texas, at TCU, at Baylor, home against K-State. Best case scenario, Coach, what would you like to see happen with the Mountaineers next week?
Well, I would like to get 2 out of 3 on the road and come back and win the home game. So if you could go 3-1, that's big time, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, if that's just big time. If it's going to be a tough road to haul, but if you end up 2-2, you're in good shape. But being 3-1 would be absolutely crazy good. Don't even talk about what happens if you're 4-0. I mean, that'd be like you're going to be a number 1 or number 2 seed.
Absolutely.
All right,
Coach.
Boy, I don't know if I can top this one next week, Anthony.
We'll do our best. We'll do our best.
I don't know. Maybe the only thing I can top this with is if I get Bob Huggins on the podcast.
Well, we'll see. I'll tell you what, it was a great show. And we want to say thanks to our sponsors tonight. Of course, the show is presented by the Warner Law Offices. Give them a call at 304-345-6789. Alfred Home Solutions, United Bank, and the Dell Sparks Collection. And don't forget, if you want to support the Press Virginia podcast, swing by pressvirginia.com and pick up some merch. Coach, as always, I'll leave you with the final word.
Final word, like I always talk about, is great day to be alive. Count your blessings. And if you're worrying, you're not praying. If you're praying, you're not worrying. Go Mountaineers. Let's go Mountaineers.
The Press Virginia podcast is produced by Anthony Lewis in partnership with HD Media and the Charleston Gazette-Mail. The Press Virginia podcast is presented by Warner Law Offices. Now's the time. Call 345-6789 and is sponsored by United Bank, West Virginia's bank. Alfred Home Solutions, fixing homes inside and out since 1963. The Charleston Gazette-Mail and the Dale Sparks Collection. Support the Press Virginia podcast by shopping at pressvirginia.com.